4-3, the Oilers victorious over the Winnipeg Jets in a come-from-behind victory, nullifying a 2-goal deficit. The misery continues for Winnipeg. The Oilers on the cusp of their first 3-game winning streak of the season. They've got back-to-back victories, and we're going to break it all down right here on the GCL Diesel Oil Stream post-game show on Edmonton Sports Talk. Tom Gazzola with you, Ben Thompson inside the EST Global HQ. I'm coming at you from the satellite studios in beautiful downtown Edmonton. And then Matt Kassian will be joining us from his satellite studios. Of course, GCL Diesel, providers of the best diesel engine components around, from turbochargers to injectors, fuel pumps to sensors. They are the critical engine component experts, proud to serve Edmonton and Northern Alberta for over 50 years. You can join the conversation. Text us 780-218-9999. Jump into the nasty chat if you're watching over on YouTube. Hello, Ben Thompson. It was, you know what? This is how I would describe that game. You know, when you watch an arm wrestle and someone jumps out to that early lead, and then you just see the other person push, and then finally, that's it, game over. That felt like that game tonight in Winnipeg, where you just see Oilers kept the pressure, and they pushed, and then pushed, and they pushed, and then eventually Winnipeg conceded, and they didn't do it in a big fight or anything like that. What do they have? One shot in the last 25, 26 minutes. It was bad by the end of it for the Jets, and you heard the boos on the broadcast, and I get it. If you're a Winnipeg Jets fan, you are not a happy camper, especially after blowing a 2-goal lead against the Oilers, and everything was looking good. And then in that last half of the game, basically it folded in a bad way. So, ouch for Winnipeg. Good job for the Oilers.
Yeah, I have down here an 18-0 stretch of shots for the Oilers there, which is something, if you're Winnipeg, you can't let that happen. You've been struggling. It's been a winless 10-game winless streak, and you're up 2 goals. In my opinion, a little bit fortunately. I felt like it was the 3-1 score wasn't. I didn't tell the real story, I think, of the game. I think Calvin Pickard probably could have had 2 of those personally. It felt like the opposite of the last time the Oilers were in Winnipeg. It was the Oilers playing better, but they were down because their goalie, I thought, didn't make 2 saves that he should have made. Versus the opposite, where they didn't play well, but their goalie bailed them out. So, now that the Oilers come back, that is, for the Jets, you can't let that happen. In this situation, you cannot let that happen. But, I think the better team won tonight. The Oilers had a pretty damn solid game. Lots of great shifts from multiple different lines. I thought there was a lot of guys that had a good impact tonight. And in the end, man, you can only contain Connor as much as you can try to contain him. Eventually, he's going to break out. They did a pretty good job of shutting him down the first period, but eventually he got loose and clutched up. We scored a big goal near the end of the second period, which is a huge ball breaker heading into the third. So, pretty damn solid game for Edmonton, man. Not a whole lot of complaints from me, and let's see if they can make it a win streak here.
That's a great way to describe that goal with 20 seconds left in the second period from Connor McDavid, ball breaker. Because at least for me, and I think the majority of Oiler fans out there that were watching this game, they probably thought to themselves, I think they're back in this, and I actually think that they might win this. And they certainly just took that third period and made it their own. And it's not like Winnipeg really put up much of a fight in that third period either, to be honest with you. So, hint, that's probably your Advantage Sport Medicine and Physiotherapy turning point of the game. And honestly, when he scored that goal, Ben, I thought to myself, that's the turning point right there. And sure enough, it was. Good for the Oilers. Honestly, as bad as it was for the Winnipeg Jets, very good for the Edmonton Oilers to claw their way out of it and make it 11 straight. And we don't have to fight about how the Oilers are slump busters and they gave some guy his first NHL goal, a point in his first game, and all of that. We can avoid all of that discussion tonight, and we could talk about how they picked up 2 points. They can come back home now to face the LA Kings and try to make it 3 straight victories. And they keep themselves atop the Pacific Division right there with the Vegas Golden Knights. So that is a good win for the Edmonton Oilers. We'll see if they can continue that. And I'm curious to hear what people have to think and say about that game from an Oilers fan standpoint. So Oil Country, let's hear you. 780-218-9999. Hop into the nasty chat with that win. The Oilers temporarily move ahead of the Vegas Golden Knights. 12 games on the schedule. Just checking to see Vegas. They're down 2-1 late in the first period to Columbus right now. So lots of time left there. All right, let's dive into the inbox as we await Cass. Let's go to Vincenzo. Says, can't wait to hear the perspectives on a win. Good win, Vincenzo. And yeah, I really do think it's like one of those classic arm wrestles where, someone gets that early lead and then boom, 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 gets pushed back. And then it's over because that person didn't have any fight left. That was the Winnipeg Jets after getting the lead and having a good start. Somewhat fortuitous, like Benny alluded to, that third goal for sure.
Yeah.
Weird bounces. Like I didn't know what the heck was going on. I didn't like the Tanner Pearson goal. I'll be honest with you. No. Was wondering what Calvin Pickard was doing. A little bit late getting to that post, but Pearson tucked it in and helped give the Jets a lead. So yeah, good win ultimately. Just like, yeah, good. Come home, get ready for Saturday and be ready to go. So Dirty Curdy texting in. Dirty Curdy says, I love the Euro back pass by Kapanen. Team won in spite of street hockey tending. 1-0 in the post, 1-0 in the post Henrique era. We can only hope Bowman's henchmen are working overtime to get him waived. Jets are lifeless. That's from Dirty Curdy. Let's go to a couple more. Let's go to Shaggy. Shaggy, a little bit of positivity. That's nice to see. He says, have to give them credit for coming back, if not for those 2 weak goals by Pickard. Thought it was over at 3-1. Not sure if it was Oilers playing great or Jets just going into defensive shell to try and hold on. Pickard, not great, but he made sure not to give up the 4th goal. Also, Frederick did something. He was a punching bag for Stanley. They actually took advantage of a vulnerable opponent, which they should always do. Dare I dream they actually win 3 straight. That one's from Shaggy and not all negative. That's encouraging in itself. Very good. We're taking W's here. I appreciate that. El Presidente says, maybe I can't watch away games. LOL. I went out after 2 and they come back to win. Coach Mike says, terrible first 20 minutes. Incredible final 40. Frederick right now reminds me of Bucky towards the end of his career. He'd get beat up almost every game. That's all he could offer to the team. First 3-game win streak on Draisaitl night? Yeah, perhaps. Maybe they make it a good night. Yeah, Kelly Buchberger wouldn't say no to anybody. He fought some of the toughest of the tough. And Bucky won some too. Come on. Bucky won some too. Give him credit for that. And I will give Trent Frederick full credit for fighting Logan Stanley. The guy is 6'7". See what I did there? Uh-huh. And he's tough and he's aggressive and he gets into fights. And yes, Frederick at the end, he took a couple and Stanley pulled that last punch when Frederick went to the ice, which is appreciated. You don't want to see another sucker punch or another cheap shot there from Logan Stanley. You remember last week he had that one on Brady Tkachuk. He didn't do that there, but then he had like an obnoxious smile, which I text Cass about and said, what was that? What would you say to that? So without further ado, let's bring Cass on because I thought to myself, I was like, okay, he knows he had Frederick down and out. He didn't throw the last punch. Good. Then he had that kind of smile obnoxiously towards Frederick because he knew he had him down, didn't throw that punch. But at the same time, Cass, I was just like, I would be pissed off if I was in Frederick's situation. And I was like, I wonder what Cass would be like if he had a situation like that. What would he think of it? Because you kind of played with an old school edge mentality and by the code and all that.
Kind of.
You did.
Yeah.
That was me underscoring that you did, Cass.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know what the interesting thing, because I had my first thoughts on it and then I watched again after I'd already texted you back and I pulled it up and watched again. He doesn't he pulls a punch because he was going to hit him straight in the head. Yeah. Like the way Frederick kind of tucks. Now he's smiling and laughing. It's still, I guess I still have the same answer. it's a little bit of showboating, a little bit of he-manning, a little bit of just trying to, look at me, I'm Mr. Cool. I could have hit you, but I didn't. I don't think he really could have hit him when he was down with where the ref was. Now, if he's being like, oh, look, the guy's smaller than me, I manhandled him, that it's kind of the angle he's going with. But I don't know. Guys that don't fight that often, sometimes they do that. He probably wouldn't have been doing that against me, but that's my weight class for guys like that, as you generally. And I was picky at times. There was guys I'd kind of, we'll call it showboat a little bit against, and some guys not. You're trying to send a message when you do it, and he was trying to send a message to his own guys, knowing that Frederick's trying to get something going still for himself. Their team's playing a little bit better, but still behind in the game. Like, he's trying to be like, oh, like, look at me. We're cool. I'm cool. We're good. Like, ain't no thing. Like, that's kind of the mentality.
Hold the helmet up after too.
Yeah. I mean, if it was me, I would have went and fought him again. Like, that's
I know you would have.
You go and you fight him a second time, and then if it happens again, you go and you fight him a third time. Like, it's one of those situations where you just kind of, if you don't like it, you bounce back. Mm-hmm. On a positive note, guys, maybe the best news of the night.
Tell me.
Maybe. So while I was waiting for you guys to bring me in, and I was watching intently, I happened to win an auction for my 2011, my first goal jersey I was wearing when I scored my first goals in the NHL was up for auction. I didn't tell anyone because I didn't want anyone bidding on it.
Right.
So I kept it quiet. Just told my parents, because I'm like, hey, and my wife, I'm like, hey, if you see this, don't bid on it, because I'm going to bid on it. So I won that auction, which is nice.
Excellent.
I'm excited about that. Yeah,
it's a good thing.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
It's crazy because, like, this is an aside, but those jerseys, they don't just give them to you, right? When you're playing, you only get like one, or they give you one if they like you, kind of thing. How does that work?
I got my draft jersey, then that's it. Like, you have to maybe beg and plead for the rest of them, but they do kind of what they're doing or did, which is years later, they released a whole massive batch of jerseys to make money. I mean, that's their prerogative. They're their jerseys. Like, they're not the players' jerseys. So
that's true.
I mean, it is what it is. It wasn't crazy expensive. So I'm not too sad about it. I had to fight off one bidder, but
Oh, did we lose Cass? He fought off one bidder.
Yeah, he fought off one bidder, and I think that bidder took out his internet.
I think so. Maybe it crashed his internet. All right, so the Oilers win 4-3 over the Jets. We'll get Cass back, and he'll give his thoughts on the game rather than winning his jersey auction, which I'm happy that he got his jersey, because those things are important. They mean a lot to the player and the family and all of that. So that's interesting. All right. Let's go to Adam from Lloyd. Keep the text coming in, 780-218-9999. I've got this Ole Miss Miami or University of Miami game going on here. I need some points here, baby. I need some points. Adam from Lloyd texting and says, hey, boys, not a really inspiring first and most of the second, but a hell of a comeback. That third period, continued to look good tonight. Or third line looked like it continued to play well tonight against a heavy team. How much do you think Dusty was starting to sweat the lines changing next game until the Oilers got some life in the last little bit of that second and scored? Should be a good one against the Kings on Saturday night. Have a good night, boys. Thanks, Adam from Lloyd. Appreciate that. Yeah, it was that slow buildup for the Oilers from their point of view into the game. I kind of thought in the first period, and there were moments where I was like, ooh, we might be talking about another disappointing performance and result, but it just, the Jets started to fade away. And like Adam from Lloyd said, it got better and better from an Oilers standpoint. Lineup wise, we'll see. Still 3 games to go before the bet is up. But Kapanen, nice play to Podkolzin on that goal. Good job by Podkolzin. What a feed, yeah.
The chemistry is just, it's flourishing, Well,
settle down. Settle down. I thought you want Popeyes. So
I do.
If you want Popeyes, you want Hernan and I to win this bet.
I do.
So thank you.
I saw
You're
that.
counterproductive here.
This is going to be hilarious for the story.line. This will be great.
Sure. He's going to tease everybody that line with a good game tonight, and then it's going to all change on Saturday. And by Monday, Hernan and I would have won the bet. Okay, welcome back, Cass. We got disrupted there. Let's move to your thoughts on the game and how the Oilers kind of made their way back into it. compared it to an arm wrestle where, you get that early lead and then the push, and then boom, done. And you got nothing left in the tank. How did you see it?
Yeah, well, then I think that nothing left in it. Like if this was a Jets team that had won 10 games in a row, they would have pushback. Mm-hmm. But I think with the way that they have gone winless in 10 and they've had a couple leads that they've given up, I think when the game got tied, like they were fine. They were still in it, still playing decent. And then the game got tied and then that was it. They collapsed. I didn't think it was going to happen. I didn't think the Oilers were going to win that one. Like after the Jets went up 3-1, I was like, no, that's probably it towards that end of the first period.
Yeah. At that point, I understand.
Yeah. I thought they were done. Then they just kind of crawl back into it, or McDavid pulls them back into it, and they started generating some momentum in the second. And I think the mentality switched from Winnipeg from win the hockey game to don't lose the hockey game. And I think it got noticeable, and you could feel it, I'm assuming, in the stands too, from a noise standpoint, with the nerves of everybody, and they fell apart, guys. I mean, we talked about the wounded animal, and it's like they had the big fight off the start, and then they just kind of leaned over and gave in. Like that was it.
From a Winnipeg, again, I know this is an Oilers post-game show, but I'm looking at the Jets and I'm going, they are toast, and that fan base booing them off the ice. And I'm sure there's a lot of content and happy Oilers fans that are just like, that's too bad. We dealt with that crap ourselves. So I don't think there's a lot of sympathy, but the fact that this thing has fallen so far off a cliff so quickly is incredible to me, because you get one shot in a 25-minute span in a game where the Oilers, I didn't think were airtight defensively by any means. That's wild to me, Cass and Benny.
To me, I don't follow Winnipeg as closely. I mean, some of the listeners in the chat, like Scott Arniel, is this a situation where like is his job done here? How
do you do that to a guy that won the President's Trophy?
100%, but it's 11 games winless here. At what point are they tired of watching this and they got to make a change? And we've talked about it. Coaches, whether it's for the right reason or for the wrong reason, they're the easiest decision to make for a change with your group. I don't know.
What's that going to solve though, Benny? Like,
I'm 100% agreement. It's just they could use a change, right? And it's usually whenever a team needs a change, coach is the first one to go.
Easiest, yeah. That's their problem. You want to talk about problems? Look at the Ottawa Senators right now. My goodness. Yeah. We have a former Sen on the show right now. There's a statement put out by Steve Stais. I thought some of the wording in there wasn't great, but I understand what he's trying to do. They're getting beat 8-1 right now by the Colorado Avalanche. All right, let's reshift the phone. Unless you want to say something, Cass.
No, I hadn't seen that statement, so I'm just pulling it up here.
Yeah, that situation's not good, and it seemed to like really snowball today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had no clue about it until my buddies came to watch the game. Like, did you see that one? What? And then they're showing us, wow, that is quite the rumor, I guess, thrown around.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I hadn't seen what the rumor was either, which
it's not good. Probably.
Yeah. All good.
Off-ice stuff.
We can stay with the Oilers Jets here.
All right. Okay. Couple things.
What do you guys think? Yeah. What do you guys think about the Roslovic line?
I
was going to get to that. They seem to be one of the few lines at the start of the game that was able to generate any momentum, some zone time. It seemed like their speed and their skill. Even Howard seemed to be kind of confident in his puck touches. I didn't mind Roslovic at center. That's my main concern right now. I didn't mind that line. What did you guys see with that line?
I didn't mind them aside from, was it the 2-1 goal? I think it was the 2-1 goal, the Pearson one. You see him make a little bit of a mistake, Roslovic in front of the net on the Pearson goal,
right?
Where as a centerman, you have to read where the D are. You have Evan Bouchard, who's playing a guy, and then I think it was Stastny who ends up tying up a guy in front, which was the dangerous player on the play.
Yeah.
And Roslovic was a little slow to realize he has to get the far post on that. Like centerman, you got to go low guy. And it's almost just that split second hesitation where he doesn't. Now, was that a good goal by Calvin Pickard? No. Should not go in. Like, so, he was heading that way. Roslovic was. Would I like him to be one step quicker over there? Yes. So it's like a little misread. That wasn't a huge thing. Ends up in the back of their net, but I blame goaltending more than I blame him on that one, although he didn't help the situation.
True.
Outside of that, though, I thought it was pretty good. I just like the speed. I do really like the speed on that line. When they're moving their feet and when they have possession, they can threaten a little bit.
And we outlined it, guys, that they're not the biggest players. No. They're not the biggest dudes. And Winnipeg has big body players and skilled forwards who can skate with their big frames. They seem to handle that just fine, didn't they?
I thought so. To me, I look at Savoy, I think is solid on his own end, so I'm not worried about who he plays with because I think no matter what, he can be valuable where he's put. But Roslovic and Howard, it's important to have those guys with skill guys. And so I think when you put them all on a line together, they're all thinking the same. And you can kind of see that on plays where, I think if Howard's playing on a line with Henrique and Frederick, he simply just isn't getting the puck in certain places and where he's most dangerous in. There was that one tic-tac-toe play they made for a Roslovic one-timer in the high slot, I think early in that first period, where I was like, that looks like a line that knows where they are and also has its, they know what they want to do with the puck is they want to be a team that can, or they want to be a line that has a second wave of offense for that top six. And that's what, to me, you're building that third line for. Savoy, Howard, and Roslovic is going out there to try to get you a goal or two because that's what suits them. That's their strong suits. So, for right now, man, with Henrique being out and Roslovic's having to slide to the 3C, I liked some of the looks that they had. Unfortunately, they were out there for 2 goals, I think. But overall, I mean, they got 12 minutes of ice time for Savoy and Howard, and Roslovic got to 14. I had absolutely no problems with that line tonight. I thought they were pretty solid. Probably should stick with them, and I guess we'll see if it actually happens on Saturday. But yeah, I like the line tonight.
Penner's Pancakes in the nasty chat said that line had some looks. Colin follows up with they were -2. That needs to improve. Yeah. And Cass outlined the breakdowns there. Conroe, Texas, texting in says, Oilers were solid, even down 3-1. You felt the Oilers were fine. Happy they got the win for the sake of the third line. And while not at fault for the 2 goals, at the end of the period, if they don't come back, it's Soils and otherwise great debut. Okay, so we talked about the third line. We should probably talk about what happened on the back end with Spencer Stastny being bumped up to the second unit alongside Darnell Nurse on his offside. He was out there for a goal against, and you saw him try to boot the puck up the wall on the one and comes back and it's in the back of the net. But overall, Spencer Stastny, Cass, from what you saw tonight in a elevated role on his off wing with Darnell Nurse, who I thought overall was decent tonight, to be honest with you. Had that huge block shot where he was writhing in pain and managed to not miss a shift. Good for him. He's tough as they come. Stastny finishes 20-55 with the -2, 1 shot, 2 giveaways on the night. Cass, your first impressions of him on that side?
Yeah, I mean, the kick was a kick. That's kind of what you get. That's kind of when you get when you have a guy playing his off wing, right? Because if you're on your forehand on that side, a little easier to try to jam it up the wall, where on your backhand, you don't really have much there, and he kicks it. Now, Hyman, I think, is a little slow to recognize that.
Yeah.
Like he gets stepped around. He probably could have got there if he would have recognized it. So there's other things going on in that play too.
Yeah.
He gets back okay. Again, Connor a little bit low. Darnell Nurse can't let that pass go through. Playing it 2-on-1, he slides a little bit too far away, doesn't take away the lane. Overall, he was okay. Like, it wasn't a perfect game, but it didn't seem in watching like he was behind, and I didn't see the turnovers like we've seen Regula. Like the big mistakes that we saw Regula make the last couple of games, he didn't make tonight, which was a good thing. So it was a solid game from him, a good first game in this. Based on that, my question for you guys, and based on what you saw with Stastny, is does Regula come back in next game, or do you keep the defense the way it was tonight?
I'll bet. I have my answer, but go ahead, Benny.
I think you stick with what's working. You want a pretty damn good game today. I understand the Jets are currently the worst team in the NHL, but you look at that team on paper and how desperate they were tonight. They're better than what I think their record shows. I didn't mind Stillman's game tonight. He's physical, which I think you're hoping for a little bit more of from Regula. Bigger guy that doesn't overly play too physical, but there's been a lot of gaffes with Regula's play as of late. A lot of bad turnovers, but I just don't think you get that same amount with Stillman. And I think Stastny has shown over the past couple of games that he's can at least play those minutes and not fully cost you. Obviously, it was that rough play in the corner there, but they're really treating Stastny like he's Kulak. That's what I've noticed. Like they're really letting him, if he's the third pair guy, he's getting the most minutes. And then, when Regula's out, they're throwing him up in the top four, assuming, when Wallman gets back, he gets pushed back to the 5. But
Sure.
To me, you run the same decor. You run it back until this team loses a game. You need a winning streak here. You've won 2 in a row again. Like, let's go. Like, you win a third on Saturday. Stick with the team that won you the game today. So yeah, I go. Stillman still stays in, and Regula stays out.
Cass.
Yep. Yep. Regula stays out. Yeah. I mean, you won. He didn't make the big mistake. So for me, it's just kind of it's simple. Yeah, it's simple. That one. It's just like, yep. That's you don't switch it up until he gives you a reason to.
Now, I wouldn't go as far as, I believe this is Hontorio Momes this time, instead of in the text line over on the Nasty Chat on the YouTube side, says, Stastny looks like an American Eagle model and skates like Jesus. Okay. That's an interesting descriptor of Spencer Stastny. You can text us 780-218-9999. Troll chimed in. He says, I'm shocked Stastny was -2 playing with Nurse. Shocked. LOL. And that's obviously a bit of sarcasm. Troll also added this. Jets were overrated last year. Definitely not the best team, and have bad luck this year. Not the worst team. But it almost feels like the life is sucked out of them, because we had Kenny Weeb on from the Winnipeg Free Press on the pregame show, and it was 8 of 10. Cass, you outlined that too. How many 1-goal games there were, overtime games in that stretch. The lone game that was more than a 1-goal margin was the Oilers game, and that was with an empty netter. It was essentially a 2-1 game. So, does it get to a point where it's like we've tried and now it's 11 games? It's like, well, it's over, or is there a fight still in it? Because I can imagine them in that room, Cass, saying the right thing. Scott Arniel trying to be positive and trying to put them in the right frame of mind, but at some point that message isn't registering anymore in their collective minds, isn't?
Yeah. I mean, you got to wonder if they're done, if that's it.
Yeah.
Like you have to. And this might be the final straw, like another game where you're winning it, another game where you have a 2-goal lead, and another game where you give it up at home. But I don't know. I don't know what you do. Like like just firing him doesn't seem to do much.
Yeah.
So maybe you have to make a trade, but who and what are you going to do? And maybe that's the only, it's got to be the last thing left. Like it has to be, because that room has got to be toast. Like you can't stay positive not winning a game in 11 games.
There's no way you can.
No. And you haven't played poorly. That's the thing. It's not like you're awful. Like you've been decent. You just can't finish it.
And it seemed like with the game tonight too, it's not even like Jets go up 3-1. They're playing well. And then McDavid has the goal near the end of the second period, but it's not like, okay, they got beat so bad by, McDavid and Draisaitl, all this stuff, blah, 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 but they still played well. It's just the Oilers stars emerged and that's what won them the game. Like the Jets played outside, they've had a good stretch here, but today, when you have a 2-goal lead, you would think that they would just be just drooling at the fact that they can close out a game here to end it. But they played brutal in the final couple of minutes of the second, all the way through the third. 18-0 was the shot stretch there for the Oilers that they had. I don't understand how you can have that performance at home under those circumstances. It blows my mind. I feel for Jets fans. That is a rough game to have.
Taco texting in says the craziest part about Winnipeg is they have a good team on paper. They have a handful of players every team in the league would love to have. And tonight they actually, we talk about Andrew Mangiapane, who again, guys, I don't feel like he was missed tonight.
Nope.
And Frederick did have that fight. And I saw Frederick moving his boots out there a little bit today too. And in the time he did play tonight, which I appreciate. And I know he's trying to get back into it. He played 647. He had 9 shifts and he had that fight. So, but they, on the flip side in Winnipeg, they sat Gustav Nyquist, who had a 75-point season a couple of years ago. And they sat Vladislav Nemesnikov, who had 6 goals in the first 10 games and is generally a pretty versatile top 9 forward, centerman, for crying out loud. And they both those guys have 8 points each this season.
Oh.
It's desolate.
Maybe trade bait for Mangiapane.
Well, I mean, Kenny was talking about Cole Perfetti, and I was like, that's interesting. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. And he did say that the Jets were one of the teams sniffing around on Mangiapane in the offseason. So, and the Leafs. So that's something that maybe some Oilers fans might get their antenna up for sure. The Oilers win it tonight 4-3 over the Winnipeg Jets and will return home to face the Los Angeles Kings Saturday night, looking to make it 3 straight victories. That would be the first winning streak of the season if they can get the job done. They will be celebrating Leon Draisaitl on Saturday, 1,000 points. And ceremonial games, I can't remember what the Oilers' record is in that, but they've had a lot of ceremonies, so I feel like they're probably half decent. Cass, some of your takeaways from tonight that you think the Oilers can carry into that game on Saturday against the LA Kings? Yeah,
well, I think the stick-to-itiveness, as we make up words to use them, I think was a good thing where, yes, it wasn't a perfect game. It was a little bit too slow a start, but they stuck with it from a slow burn standpoint, and they found a way to win against a desperate team. And that was a good thing. Good teams find ways to win even when they're not at their absolute best. So that was really good. How do you carry it forward? Oh boy.
Or do you have to pick that game apart if you're the coaching staff?
I think you're doing a bit of both. Like, you're trying to carry it forward, but you don't want to pick it apart too much. But maybe you kind of do, because anytime they win a couple games in a row this season, they've been pretty terrible.
They don't handle success well.
So maybe I'll go with whatever they did last time, do the opposite. So it's like if they were all happy and like, hey, great game, like, hurrah, last time, maybe this time they should absolutely pick it apart. And I think for some of the players, you're going to want to do a little bit more of that anyways. Like, full game now for the Roslovic line, like, you're going to want to spend some time with that line, going through video if you get a chance. Statsny, you're going to want to go through his video with him if you get a chance from a coaching standpoint. But I do think it most likely will be a little bit of a balance there, where it's like you do want to show some things, like you don't want to break it down too much, but you don't want the heads getting swollen, because we've seen that happen over and over again this year.
That is the 8th time the Oilers have back-to-back victories this season, yet to get that 3rd in a row. We'll see if they can make it happen on Saturday. Cass, great work as always, my friend. We'll talk to you on Saturday.
Sounds good, fellas. See you then.
There you go. There's our game analyst, Matt Kassian, helping us break down the Oilers' 4-3 victory in Winnipeg over a Jets team that is spiraling. I mean, they can't go any lower in the standings, but just the way it has fallen apart, unraveled, come unglued, whatever terminology you want to use for the Winnipeg Jets, it's impressive for all the wrong reasons, as the Oilers improved to 22-16-6. Winnipeg falls to 15-22-6. You can text us 780-218-9999, and then you could jump into the nasty chat. If you're watching over on YouTube, Tom Gazzola, Ben Thompson with you. We'll go inside the Oilers locker room. We will get to the Advantage Sport Medicine and Physiotherapy turning point of the game. At Advantage Sport Medicine and Physiotherapy, they'd like to remind you that Connor McDavid, he's got a team of specialists. You and me, we've got a bag of frozen peas. So get the same locker room approach that's trusted by the best in the game at Advantage Sport Medicine. Book your assessment today at www.advantagesportmed.ca or call 780-460-9977. I did tip my pitch earlier in the show, and I have no qualms with that because I think we're generally at a consensus when it comes to this is where this game turned, and you could kind of sense it was when Connor McDavid scored with 20 seconds left in the second period. The Oilers were down by 2. They were okay in the second period. They started to push back a little bit, kind of created a little bit of momentum, but they had nothing to show for it. And then a rush late, less than 30 seconds to go, some quick passing and a nifty move by McDavid. It's by Connor Hellebuck on the blocker's side. Even Hellebuck looked surprised when it got by him at 19:39, and all of a sudden the Oilers have life. And 8:19 into the third period, Hyman with a beautiful goal, and then Bouchard absolutely rips it on the power play. On a power play that wasn't looking good for that first minute, and then they break in and they get a couple of nice passes, and Bouchard takes advantage, firing one, walking in from the slot, which absolutely beautiful bar down shot. Hyman's shot was great too, but it's that McDavid goal, Benny, at 19:39 of the second, where I thought to myself, I think Edmonton's going to win.
Yeah, that was the, like you were saying, I thought they were playing pretty solid in that second period, but it was just one of those, it just seems like one of those games where it's Hellebuck's kind of stoning them here. It doesn't look like they're going to be able to beat them. And then it's that final goal before the end of the second period, a fantastic move, and a just overall great play that sends you into the intermission going, okay, we have something to show for that now. That's what the Oilers are thinking. We have something to show for that. All it is we're one goal away. That's all it is. So, and then sure enough, Hyman goes and ties it up. And I thought it was pretty good. Yeah, turning point of the game was definitely that Connor McDavid goal near the end of the second.
That is brought to you by Advantage Sport Medicine and Physiotherapy. If you need a little work on your temple, the body, a nagging sports injury of some sort, book your assessment over at AdvantageSportMed.ca or call 780-460-9977. They have a great crew, very professional, and ready to help you out. Make sure you're back in tip-top form. All right, let's go around the horn in the National Hockey League. It's a busy day. 12 games on the schedule. Let's get you up to speed on what happened so far. I'm watching this college football game on. It's 27-24 Ole Miss with a minute 26 left, and I think it's third down. There's a incomplete pass, or they ruled it complete at the sideline for a first down. Glue Guy put his play of the day on this, and I rode with him. So. I'm curious how to see how this plays out going into the national championship. Okay, without further ado,
the Colorado game here. See here.
Well, it ain't pretty in Ottawa, I'll tell you that much. Boston 4-1 win over Calgary. Montreal 6-2 win over Florida. Detroit in the game where Patrick Kane scores his 500th career goal, a 5-1 victory over the Canucks. Our good buddy Dan Murphy with a great interview with Kane. After talking about the milestone, Buffalo 5-2 winners over the Rangers. The Toronto Maple Leafs 2-1 winners over the Flyers in Philly in overtime. Pittsburgh 4-1 against the Devils. 5-2 Carolina beats the Ducks. Edmonton 4-3 over Winnipeg. Nashville a shootout win over the Islanders. That killed the lock shot partner parlay. Ottawa 8-1. They are trailing the Colorado Avalanche with just under 17 minutes left to play. Just do yourself a favor and look up Ottawa Senators on Twitter, and you'll get the gist of what's gone on. Steve Staios had to put out a statement today. Lots of rumors circulating. Linus Ullmark had to walk away from he's taken a leave from the team for personal reasons. And Not a good situation there as they're getting absolutely decimated by the Avalanche. The Golden Knights, meanwhile, have tied it 2-2 in the second period, 13:55 left to play against the Blue Jackets. And then the last game, Minnesota leads Seattle 2-0. All right. Ooh, Ole Miss is holding up. The defense is doing good. Benny, we do have some audio to get to. Where do you want to go first? Take us into it.
Let's go to Zach Hyman tonight. This was Zach Hyman with his comments after the game.
This was the word of that game. We had Darnell Nurse's big block at the end of the first, a fight with Frederick, and then you guys showing your mental toughness all throughout the night.
Yeah, it's a great win for us, great team win. I think a lot of guys contributed in different ways. I mean, fighting is still, as much as people want to phase it out of the game, there is an element to it that can help turn the team game around. I thought Freddie sticking up for Davo, fighting a big man, and doing that. I mean, people say it's a coincidence that we won't score a couple shifts later, but I think there's something to that, and obviously he's done it a couple times now, so good on Fred.
You had him fight, and then McDavid scores. Can you just maybe talk about what that does for the energy coming back in this dressing room, only down by 1 as opposed to 2?
Yeah, it's twofold. Obviously, we've all been in the situation that Jets are in. When you're not winning games, it's hard to close the game out. So I think that 2 goal was really important for us, put pressure on them, and then get going. It's a lot easier to come back from 1 than it is 2.
Everyone always talks about the calm, cool, and collectedness of Evan Bouchard, but the big play on one end and then scoring in the other, is that just Evan Bouchard in a nutshell?
Yeah, he made a ton of great plays. Made one on Davo's goal up the ice, and he made a number of ones that didn't go in, and then obviously getting the game-winning goal. Not many guys better at picking a corner from there than him, so I just tried to not get hit and stand there and figure it's going to go in.
Speaking of picking corners, your shot, it looked like you kind of had time to decide what to do. Is that what you saw as the best opportunity? Yeah,
he's a big goalie. I've tried to go cross-side on him on the back end. That's kind of the usual move I make, but I thought that had some time to go short side, and obviously I was able to beat him, which was a big goal for us.
Okay, there's Zach Hyman scoring his 13th goal of the season, continuing to play well. Clutch, great power move. I think he was holding off Kyle Connor on that one. And great recognition to go high glove on Hellebuck and put it right under the bar. That was a fantastic goal. You saw the excitement from Hyman on that one, and then it would be Evan Bouchard shortly after burying the game winner on the power play. So good stuff there from Hyman. I do appreciate what he said about the fight, and there is still a place for fighting in hockey. I absolutely believe that, and momentum does generate from fights. Gets the guys into the game, and you feel good for your guy, even though he didn't win that fight. You appreciate the fact that he stood up for his teammates and the fact that he did that. So I like the way Zach Hyman articulated that. I like the way Zach Hyman responded with his play, and I like the way Zach Hyman responded with the outcome of his play, which was a big equalizing goal for the Oilers tonight. All right. Benny, do you want to go back inside the Oilers locker room and hear from head coach Chris Knobloch?
Let's do it. This is Chris Knobloch from the dressing room tonight.
This was the word of the game for you guys. You had the Darnell Nurse block, Trent Frederick fight, and then the mental toughness to get back in this one.
Well, the Freddie's fight kind of turned it around a little bit. So obviously, we scored a really important goal at the end of the period. They're a fragile team, and you score that and eliminate their lead just to 1 puts a lot of pressure on them. And and then Doc, a lot of big key block shots, and you need that stuff.
Yeah, despite the score, it looked like your team was still pushing the needle. Can you just maybe talk about your group's ability to make the play when necessary, especially the timely power play goal at the end?
Well, special teams in the third period, huge. We were able to score that power play goal. I believe that put us up. And then the late penalty kill, huge plays. There's many of them there. McDavid holding the puck. Bush made a couple plays. I know Savvy protected and got the clear. Just so many guys, what you need. And, we've been in that situation quite a bit this year where guys have been, we've had a penalty kill late in the game's on the line, and they've had a lot of important kills.
What do you make of Evan Bouchard's defensive game, particularly that play that led to him scoring the game-winning goal?
Bouch, unfortunately, doesn't get enough credit for being the defensive player that he is. And, you see sometimes he makes a mistake. You think he's not cognizant about playing defense, and he's not a physical guy, but he's so smart. He's ahead of the play, and usually gets a stick on a lot of pucks that intercept passes or breaks up plays. And, it's unfortunate that he doesn't get enough credit. Our penalty kill, another thing, our penalty kill's good with him. He adds to that, and when you think of Bouchard, you think of the shot, you think of the points and being an offensive defenseman, but there's a lot to his game.
Down 3-1, Calvin Pickard and the team shuts the door, but after maybe a difficult first period with that weird third goal, what did you think of how Calvin just kind of locked
he settled in, two kind of goals at a bit of a scramble, and one's unfortunate. I think it went off our guy and kind of squeaked through. Those happened, but he stays composed, made some key saves for us, 2 in the third period, so it was nice to see.
How about the overall team game, 16 shots against here tonight?
Besides about 5 minutes at the end of the first period, I thought we played pretty well, so, it's, I like the fact that we're down 3-1 and we stuck with it, and even we didn't generate very much in the second period, but we still pushed and were able to finally get a goal by the end of the second period.
You mentioned the Jets are fragile. Did you talk about their vulnerability before the game?
No, we didn't. Often that sometimes goes in our players' mind that maybe it's going to be easy, and I think they're vulnerable, but I don't necessarily see them playing badly. And the NHL is funny that the parity is so even, and just games aren't just going their way. They're not getting that last save or the last goal, or you think about the chances they don't get. They had a goal post to make it 4-1 in the second period, and just accumulation of a lot of things not going their way that's making it tough for them.
All right, that's Chris Knobloch talking about his team's win. Said he didn't bring up how vulnerable the Winnipeg Jets were. I do appreciate what he said about Evan Bouchard's defensive game. Now, I don't believe a single word he said.
I found that pretty funny. I knew some people would get their feathers ruffled. I'm not saying you, I'm saying in general.
I've been listening, watching this game, and I'm like, okay, you're just being a nice guy. You're trying to be nice to your guy publicly.
Yep. But he does deserve some credit for tonight's win. He
absolutely he does. Big game winner.
Stopped a goal, goes and scores the game winner on the other on the end of the ice in the same play. So he had a great game tonight. Yes, he did, and he deserves credit for that, and we will give him credit for that. But I was just like, he's so good defensively, Tom. He gets his sticks in lanes. Yeah. He's not physical, but he's so smart.
Yeah, and sometimes people don't want to give him credit for that. It's because he's not, and you know that, and everything that's coming through what you're saying to the microphone is a bunch of gabagool, if you know what I'm saying. All right, let's get to some more text. We're going to get to the player of the game as well. Troll says, quote unquote, I like Zach Hyman is all we really need to say. Yes, I think I kind of waxed on and on and on about Zach Hyman and what he did. Taco says, Tommy, what's the deal with Ottawa? Something about cheating. I didn't pay attention to it because I thought it was a fake story. Yes, Taco. Now, some of the stuff that's out there is bad info, but some of it resonates and it's not good. So much so to the point where Steve Staios, president and GM of the Sens, had to put out a statement tonight in regard to what is being said on social media. I think we'll probably get more information, but some of the stuff obviously gets taken way out of context and out of proportion. But yeah, that's the gist of it, Troll. I'm not going to dive too much into it. I think I've basically gotten the gist of it out to people who haven't caught on yet. Liquid Beaver says, hey, Stu Skinner, third star for the Penguins tonight, 966 save percentage. Yeah, they had a nice win tonight. Let's go to the Wolf. Oh, says, how about that pass from Kapanen? Think he'll be staying on the second line for another one, Tommy? Yes, I think he will for another one, but 2 more after that, I don't know. Anything could happen.
This is a funny storyline to follow. I can't wait for just Wednesday morning. If he sticks in the lines all the way up until game day lines on Wednesday, you should look. I can't wait for that tweet to come out. Like, is he there? Is he there?
If he's there, Hernan and I will happily buy Popeyes for Dusty. But if he isn't, I can't wait for the whole crew to be just crushing Popeyes for lunch. Yeah, exactly. Reed will be the happiest boy.
Oh, yeah.
I guarantee you.
He get his chicken sandwich.
He loves chicken sandwiches, that guy. I tell you what. All right, let's get to the player of the game presented by our good friend, Damon Bunting. Damon Bunting, real estate player of the game. All right, David Bunting, you know him, you love him, you've seen him on our shows. He has been with us from day one, and he and his team would love to help you find that right home or make the move from your current home. Check him out, DamonBunting.com, or visit his Instagram at Damon Bunting Real Estate. Benny, take it away.
I'm going to give it to a guy that I've been pretty critical on. I said last post game that I wouldn't have Trent Frederick playing tonight. I would be calling up Max Jones or Connor Clattenburg or Quinn Hudson. I'd be calling any of those guys and playing them to send a message to Trent Frederick. Now,
That's almost cruel, but I understand.
He needs to get the message somehow. And I think he understood what was being said to him. And he came out tonight and had a pretty solid performance. Has a big fight against Logan Stanley, which is brave of him. I understand this has been a common thing. Every time he gets sat, he comes back, has a fight. But this was a big one, and ended up kind of turning the tide a little bit in this game. I don't think it's a coincidence that right after Connor scores and all of a sudden it becomes the Oilers game. But as a guy, I've been very critical of him. Plays 647. I thought he was moving his boots a little bit better today. I say this nicely. Just make sure it continues. Right? Let's like this is a solid, stepping stone. Good step. Let's see it continue this way. But for tonight's game, I thought he had a pretty solid game. If the Oilers are getting that Trent Frederick every time he's out there, then the noise will go down a little bit. Still probably be a little bit there because he's getting paid and he's not scoring and stuff. But I think he had a pretty solid game, a solid stepping stone game that I hope he continues.
And I thought Chris Knobloch was full of gabagool with his comments tonight. You must be feeling really good and very generous because I don't know. I mean, I'll give credit to him for getting into that fight, but I know you also have an internal rule where you don't like to give it to a guy who's one of the 3 stars of the night.
I would have given it to Bouchard. I would have. That was the guy. I was kind of pissed that he was 3rd star, but I had to go Frederick. Hyman, nice goal, but I want to highlight a guy who I thought kind of had his turned the tide a little bit.
I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah, there you go. So Trent Frederick is your Damon Bunting real estate player of the game. Of course, picked by Ben Thompson. So don't come at me, yo. Don't come at me. We have a few more minutes here. And I want to get to this text from Coach Mike, who says, do you guys have any thoughts on the Pacific Division? The Oilers are in good shape to finish first. Seattle has bounced back. Ducks in a free fall, winning only 2 of their last 14. That's from Coach Mike. Ben, you want to take the first crack at what you think of the Pacific Division?
I think they're going to win it, personally. I think they do. They have a lot of Pacific matchups coming up, including one on Saturday against the LA Kings. To me, they have a very favorable schedule following the rest of the year. They got rid of all their Eastern road trips, so now that they're sticking within, I believe, a 2 time zone range here. They have. I think they're in favor to win the Pacific, in my opinion. I think their play has turned around. Obviously, there's a little bit of that slump after the Christmas break, but these past 2 games have been pretty damn good for the Oilers. So I like their schedule. I like their matchups. I like some of the play of the top guys. And you can't expect Connor to go on this ridiculous run for the rest of the season. but I think it could come down a little bit, still be fantastic for them. I would personally put them as the favorites to win the Pacific Division as of right now. A lot can change that time, but I personally like their schedule and all that stuff to win the Pacific. But Vegas is a good team, and they're gonna make it really hard for them. Kraken's randomly come back. San Jose's is still hanging around. Macklin Celebrini is doing a ridiculously good job over there in San Jose. But yeah, I like the Oilers' chance to win the Pacific this year.
Yeah, which is crazy because the Pacific is, the weakest division. Vegas, by the way, has taken a 3-2 lead, 5 minutes left in the second period over Columbus. So they'll be right there. If they hang on with the Oilers at 50 points, Edmonton 22-16-6 at this point, 6-4 in the last 10. They've won 2 in a row. On the verge of their first winning streak if they can get the job done on Saturday. I think if the goaltending continues to remain like nice and settled down and Jari gets back and he can be healthy and get it to a groove and they decide between Ingram and Pickard, and I think Ingram's got the edge right now.
Yep.
I think that'll be a little bit of a boost as well. And we'll see what transpires with the situation with Andrew Mangiapane and what they can get back, how much that could help them. Maybe it opens up a roster spot for Quinn Hudson to stick around. And they're in a good spot, just past the midway point. They're leading the division. I think if you told people around here, hey, if I said to you that just past halfway point of the season, the Oilers are first in the division, and I left it at that, people would probably be pretty happy. But then you go, well, they don't have a winning streak. Goaltending is, they kind of figured it out, we think, but it's not really sorted out. The defense, you have 3 really young guys and a kind of a journeyman and Riley Stillman up here. That would kind of taint it a little bit, but I think the key being, first in the division right there with the Golden Knights and a very opportunistic calendar coming up here. So, yeah, I think it's there for them, and a lot of 4-point games, win more than you lose. And I think we could be talking about an Oilers team winning the division for the first time since 1987. What division was that, Benny Thompson? Here's your trivia for tonight.
Smythe division?
That's right. Very good. Nicely done, sir. Nicely done. All right, let's take a quick peek at the inbox, see if anybody's texted in as we roll on here. By the way, Miami hung on to win. They scored a late touchdown. And then,
good for Manawa.
Yeah. But we hit the over, but we didn't get the
Ole Miss.
The cover. Yeah, from Ole Miss. They lost by 4. So that's a tough one. Glue Guy, great work putting that together. That was his play of the day. This text says, Tom, what do they do when Jari comes back? I'm curious on your thoughts. I think right now, if this continues the way it has, it's Connor Ingram that'll be the backup. If he falters, then there's Calvin Pickard. But as of right now, I think Ingram's kind of recognized the opportunity that's been bestowed in front of him, and for the most part has definitely taken advantage of it. So that's where I think it's headed. But I do like the fight in Calvin Pickard, and I don't like to count him out. And I don't know what will happen. Anything can happen, but I think that's kind of where it's leaning towards as of right now. The Wolf says, I'm rooting for Popeyes for the whole office. Did Dusty specify that it's for staff only? Like, what if there were some nasties at the office? Semantics. I see what you're doing, The Wolf. I see what you're doing. I respect that. Troll says, I want Dusty to win because that means the team is playing good, but I kind of want you guys to get Popeyes even more. Thank you, Troll. Thank you. They can still win, and we can still get Popeyes.
I mean, that is true. I don't know how much they'd want to screw up with a winning lineup, but I'm also kind of in that same boat. We're like, I wouldn't mind having free lunch for a day, but also at the same time, like, I'm kind of rooting for Captain to stick there for a little bit. I don't think he'll last the full season or anything, but I think it would be nice to see that line gel and stuff, and so you can have some some flexibility in your lineup.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Matt Hyman out of Winnipeg says, "Tanks for keeping the streak alive." Oh boy. Yep.
I feel bad for y'all, man. That's
tough.
I grew up in a decade of darkness, but I still wasn't really. I'm not predicting the Jets are going to go through a decade of darkness, but it's tough times right now. This is This is really rough for the Jets. So I want, you got to think a change is happening. Not say coach, but
something has to happen.
Something has to happen.
Because if you don't do anything, you're just going to get more of this, and this is painful for them. You can sense the pain for them. That's a very positive hockey market.
Yep.
One that's been blessed with some good seasons and some good times in the 15 years that they've been back in the National Hockey League.
Yep.
But yeah, this is pretty harsh for them, and you hope that they can figure something out. But my goodness, there's no room for them in the Central. The Central is an absolute gauntlet, and I don't think any other teams are feeling bad for them whatsoever. So it's going to have to be a win from within type of thing, and maybe Kevin Cheveldayoff can do something to inject a little bit of life into them. But right now, it's bad, man. That's tough stuff. That's tough stuff over in Winnipeg. Okay, Mike from Calgary, you get the final word tonight. Thank you for this text. Good to hear from you. He includes and mashes both of our names together. Says, Tom Ben, Happy New Year. Good comeback. The boys never make it easy. Mike from Calgary, you summed it up and mashed it all together in a nice little way. I appreciate that. Good to hear from you again. Big thank you to everybody who texted in, as always, and to those who watched. Thank you. Hit that smash or hit that thumbs up button. Smash it. We appreciate that. To those who listen, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, maybe on our audio player on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Thank you for those that are going to listen at a later date on the podcast version of this fine radio program. Thank you as well. The Oilers win it 4-3 over the Winnipeg Jets. 8th time this season that the Oilers have back-to-back wins. Brian Swain, really quickly texting this in. Bouchard has passed Nurse for second most game-winning goals by a defenseman in franchise history. Coffey leads with 18. Also, McDavid, 30 shots in the last 4 games. He's first Oiler with at least 30 shots in a 4-game span since Gretzky from January 1st to 8th, 1986. Exactly 40 years ago to the date. Swainer, well done, sir. Well done. For Ben Thompson, for Matt Kassian, I'm Tom Gazzola saying have a great rest of your night. We will see you tomorrow. The boys get going, 6 a.m. with the Nielsen Show featuring Lieutenant Eric, and then Bathtub Bubble Bath Boy YouTube Trev. For Benny and Cass, I'm Tom. Good night, everyone.